Folks, promises made, promises kept. I told you that I would have Diamond and Silk, not just Diamond, not just Silk, Diamond and Silk together on the same program. And here they are. Diamond and Silk, what a joy to see your faces. Thanks for coming on.
Wow. Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You have a new book out called Uprising, coming out any day. Uprising, who the hell said you can't ditch and switch? And then below it says the awakening of Diamond and Silk. So for many people listening to this program know you, but many don't. So what is your story? How did you come to where you are today?
Wow.
Listen, I mean, we tell it all in the book, and everybody that pretty much know us or we spoke at events, we tell it how it got started back in 2015 when I was watching everything go down on television. President Trump was announcing, then candidate Trump was announcing that he was running for president. I picked up the phone and called my sister. I said, girl, I said, cut on your TV. Now I know it's turn on your TV. I said, cut on your TV. Donald Trump is announcing he's running for president.
And that's what I did. I stopped what I was doing and I cut on a TV.
Yeah. And then she called me back halfway through. She said, girl, she said, this is going to be the next president of the United States.
Right.
Now, we didn't think anything of it, but we noticed how the media started vilifying him and demonizing him and throwing him under the bus. We didn't like it. So we spoke out about it. We just didn't know all of these people were going to hear it. And so in the book, we tell the amazing story about that, how it first began with that, and we go through different cycles of the book into how we were able to be on a national platform, speaking at the rallies. Yeah. I mean, it was an amazing experience and growth, and we loved it.
We loved it, yeah, especially with, you have the media trying to demonize Diamond and Silk, care to assassinate Diamond and Silk, and demons out to be conspiracy theories and all of these other different damnable things, but not realizing that we're two Black chicks who was just down with politics. And to be able to actually have the opportunity to write our story.
Right.
A lot of people have been getting it from the media and what other people expectation or how they feel about us, but to actually sit down and be able to write our true story in this book, you get to hear it from Diamond and Silk, from our own voices, from our own heart. And everybody can go to diamondandsilkbook.com to get their copy right now.
Yeah.
diamondandsilkbook.com. Is this your first book where you tell your story?
This is our very first book where we tell our story. And we even take it back to our childhood.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people want to know, wait a minute, where did you come from? How do you think like you do? Why do you think the way you do? So we go back, we take it all the way back to our childhood, how we were brought up. So it's an amazing story.
That is the question that I have for you, is that, it's something you talk about all the time. Somehow in America, there is genuine racism that says Black people must do this. They must vote for Democrats. We seem to accept that. So the question, whenever, I have so many Black friends that do not vote for Democratic candidates, but their voices are not often heard. And so my question to you is, how did you escape this pressure to vote for Democratic candidates, to think a certain way? What is it about your upbringing that allowed you to think for yourselves?
Well, first of all, our mother and our parents did not teach us to be victims and to play into this victimhood mentality. That was the number one thing. And we know to think for ourselves. I'm not always a follower. We're mostly leaders. We've never followed the crowd. I didn't have a big host of friends that I followed behind. It was our own thought process. And after having a Black president for 8 years, and we noticed there were no change. There was a lot of racial tension and unrest. Things were happening in our country that we didn't like. We said, this is a career politician.
Right.
We don't need another career politician running anything around here. We needed a businessman. So to get back to what you were asking, the more they hate, the more we continue to educate, and we let people on the Democrat Party know, or in the Democrat Party know, we can no longer vote for a system that keeps handing us crumbs.
That's right.
Look at today right now. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We have our great President Donald J. Trump, having to go up against these pharmaceutical companies to make sure that we get lower drug costs where we can afford medication.
Right.
But where's the Democrats on that? They don't care about our livelihoods. They could care less about our health. But those Democrats that's up there in the House that's playing politics, even down to Jim Crow Joe Biden, these are career politicians.
That's right.
They make their money off the backs of the American people. They skim from the top while leaving Americans left at the bottom. They want to continue to get their kickbacks and their paddywhacks.
That's right.
Without even realizing there's a new sheriff in town, President Donald J. Trump, and their gravy trains are coming to an end.
That's right.
So when they come at us upset because we chose to vote Republican, we already had a conservative mindset. The more they hate, the more we continue to educate. I will never let anyone bully us on who we're going to vote for.
That's right.
We have our own minds. We can think for ourselves. We didn't need anyone spoon feeding us a narrative. And if we chose to vote for Donald J. Trump, then we will vote for Donald J. Trump. And we meant that.
And let me just also emphasize, what we escaped was the Democrat plantation.
That's right.
That was the plantation that we escaped. And for a lot of people within the Black community, you have to realize that it's indoctrination.
Come on.
Of the mind. Of the mindset.
Because some people think when you say the plantation, they think you're actually talking about the plantation. But it's the mindset. It's the mindset. Go ahead, Sue.
That's right. That's right. The mind is enslaved to the Democrat Party, to their tactics, to their way of offering you all of these goodies and then rendering you absolutely nothing but a bag of empty promises. So it's like from Maya Angelou, the late, great Maya Angelou, like she said, when you know better, you do better. And what Diamond and Silk did, we had an awakening moment to realize that we've been voting for the same system that kept handing us crumbs, doing absolutely nothing for the Black community. And once we had that great awakening, especially after a Black president who did nothing for the Black community, not even for his own community from up there in Chicago, we was like, something got to give here. How is it that illegal aliens can come to our country and obtain the American dreams, but we have Black people have yet to obtain part of the American dream? Something wasn't sitting right in our spirit. And we began to speak out about it because it didn't feel right to us. And whenever we saw Donald J. Trump, the things that he was saying, it's like he had the solutions to the problems that was happening within the community, within our country. And I'm like, he's the man. He's the man with the master plan to make this place great again.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we switched our party from Democrat to Republican, and we voted for Donald J. Trump.
It sounds to me like something is going on finally in the Black community, that people are waking up. I think many are not as vocal as the two of you, but I think the time has come after 50 plus years of democratically controlled cities. We now have a record. We can look at the record and we can see that their policies have destroyed the Black community. We just got a few seconds left in this segment, and I'll drag you into the next segment. But what is your observation with regard to that?
Well, listen, if you look at what they're trying to do, first of all, the Democrats are trying to destroy their history. But we can never forget that they are the party that wanted to continue to keep slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of KKK, the party of segregation. Look at how they're trying to divide us now. These are not conservatives. These are straight Democrats that is trying to divide us based on race. And we can't let that happen. As patriots, we have to stand arm in arm, hand in hand, and take our country back.
Hang on right there, folks. We'll be right back. I'm talking to Diamond and Silk. I know you're not going anyplace. Folks, it's the Eric Metaxas Show. Before I continue my conversation with my guests, Diamond and Silk, I know you're not going anyplace because you want to hear what they have to say. I want to remind you, we're doing a fundraiser of Food for the Poor. We do this once or twice a year. The poorest of the poor in third world countries are starving. People in America, we are wealthy, and a little money that we give to Food for the Poor goes a long way. I want to encourage you to go to my website, diamondandsilk.com. You will see there everything that needs to be seen to explain this to you. But I'm asking everybody to be involved, even if it's the smallest amount, to help these folks. It's a wonderful organization. I return to Diamond and Silk. You finally have come out with a book. It's about time. It's called Uprising, and it's the awakening of Diamond and Silk. So you do talk about waking up. In other words, you said it wasn't really until the Obama presidency that you began to say, wait a second, maybe I'm missing something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me just tell you something. Our thought process has always been conservative. We just tend to lean Democrats because that's what we were taught. That's what we were conditioned. But after the Obama presidency, we just didn't like the way things were going in our country. And we knew that career politicians, they were working for their own greed and not the need of people. We didn't like that. If you ever want to know what's wrong with the body of people, look at the head.
Check the head.
Check the head. Right. So we thought, wait a minute. Donald Trump, that's a businessman, a billionaire. If the head is prosperous, then the body of people are going to be prosperous.
That's right.
So that's why we were just like, okay, let's vote for him. Let's do something different. And we betted and voted right. Yeah. Listen, he built the strongest economy that we've ever had in history. Black unemployment at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. I mean, home ownership at an all-time high. For us, giving people a second chance through the First Step Act, opportunity zones to build up inner and urban cities. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we have a pandemic hit. And now everybody is, you have the governors and the mayors playing like they're little dictators within their own cities and within their own state. Mm-hmm. But I want people to understand that if President Trump could do it one time, hey, all they got to do is open back up the economy and it'll boom because he left us in such a surplus. Yeah. He left us in such a good space, bam, it'll take off.
Yeah, we're living in a reserve right now if you take a look at it, because under President Obama, 8 years, nothing. With President Donald J. Trump, within 3 years, he's done more for Black people, for the Black community, for all communities, for women, all groups, Hispanic, everybody, in 3.5 years versus Obama in 8 years. Right. And then when you look at Jim Crow Joe, who's been in government position for almost half a century, okay, under his guise, where do you see any prosperity under Jim Crow Joe?
And name one thing that he's ever done, Jim Crow Joe has ever done for Black people. Yeah. Besides push a crime bill to have Black people locked up, to decimate the Black families and take the Black fathers out of the home. Not only that, President Obama, his unemployment rates when it came to Black America was at an all-time high.
It was high.
Okay. Don't forget that Joe Biden was the vice president.
That's right.
So you think that we want to turn anything over to Jim Crow Joe Biden, who already had a shot.
Right.
And Black unemployment was high. We'd be better off sticking with President Donald J. Trump, who had it at an all-time low, where you can go and pick a job. He cut regulations where if you wanted to become an entrepreneur, you can. And if you look at these mayors and these governors in some of these states, they know that this is affecting small businesses, small Black businesses. They don't care. Exactly. It's almost like they want to put us back in this state of depression, suppression, almost like we're slaves. Right. They're trying to push undercover socialism down our throats, along with a little communism. And the reason why I say that, because everybody walking around looking like the same with masks on. So we need to be very careful here. Do you want prosperity? Do you want peace? Or do you want these people pushing globalism and this communism down your throat?
That's right.
Slavery down your throat. So it's up to the American people. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You better make the choice and you better vote right or you will get left. And if we're not careful, if the wrong set of people get up in power, we all, Black and white, going to be walking around here like slaves.
Just like slaves. In our book, in one passage of our book, we even talk about this, you all. You can get the book at diamondandsilkbook.com. We talk about the Democrat tactics.
That's right.
We talk about what they have in store for the American people. If you don't get it right, you will get left.
That's right.
Let me ask you, I live in New York City. It's very difficult to be too public about my political thinking because, who wants grief, right? So a lot of times we keep quiet. I know that's the case in the Black community. I don't know where you live, but it seems to me that there are a lot of Black people kind of waking up in the way that you woke up. but they're timid about speaking out. What is your sense of where we are in this election with regard to the black vote?
Well, I'm going to tell you, there is an uprising. People are waking up and people are talking. And you even have people saying something is not right. Even when we've been in the midst of a pandemic, something is not right, because you have the left trying to point the finger at the president who's standing in a way to make sure that nothing is pushed down the throats of the American people. But you have the Democrats that don't seem to care about us being in the midst of a pandemic.
That's right.
That don't seem to care about people's livelihoods being gone and people's businesses being gone. Don't seem to care about people rioting and the anarchists that's happening on the streets. They don't even care about people protecting and serving communities. They want to defund the police. So when you look at all of that, Black America is waking up. Wait a minute. We don't like that rioting. We're not trying to burn down no statues. We don't like the disrespect when it comes to our flag. We better vote right. We cannot vote for listen, these Democrats have gone so far left, they're radicals. We're not used to seeing that in this country. They're acting like domestic terrorists.
So there is an uprising going on in the underground right now. It's the silent majority. They're going to sit back and they're going to use their voice and their power at the voting booth.
That's right.
When they pull the lever for Donald J. Trump.
And that silent majority is not just white people. It's all kinds of people. You have people that's members of the Democrat Party that's tired of the way that the Democrat Party is operating. What are they trying to do? They're trying to do some type of takeover. They want to fundamentally change our country for the worse. Have us live in the American nightmare where we will never be able to obtain the American dream. And if you have the dream, they want to take your dream and split it between everybody and give that away too. They want us, the Democrats want us living in misery. They're proving it, not right now. They're proving themselves.
I mean, no legislations for the betterment of Americans, but they're pushing legislations to try to cheat in this election.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, you know, I've really struggled to communicate with people to tell them that everybody I know believes Black Lives Matter, but the term has been hijacked by Marxists and by an organization that if you give them money, they are destroying Black lives. This is the irony, is that I think guilty white people, they just think, I'll give money. And that we have corporations giving money without really understanding that if you give money to this organization, this is not an organization that has the values of most Black Americans, but because they're loud and violent, they are speaking, they're pretending to speak for most people in Black America.
Listen to this. We understand that Black lives matter. We also understand all lives matter.
That's right.
But I will not be pumping my fist in the name of an organization that wants to dismantle and disrupt the nuclear family. Because what you're saying is that Black children don't deserve a mother and a father.
That's right.
What happens to the men? Our Black men are already walking around as if they're flying with just one wing. You can't fly with one wing. So why would you want to disrupt the nuclear family? Every child, whether they Black or white, deserve a mother and a father. I will not be pumping my fist to an organization that's talking about that they're trained Marxists. So what you trying to do? Turn this country into communism, socialism? What are you all trying to do?
That's right.
And see, I think Black people, instead of looking into, they just looked at. And once they start looking into this organization, you have a lot of people walking back because they already understand what time it is.
That's right.
Black Lives Matter, the organization, do not represent Black people. They took in probably over, I'll allege, $100 million. What Black businesses have they built? What Black community have they built back up? Have they gotten protections to these communities where they want to defund the police? So I'm sorry, that is a propaganda organization, and that money that's taken in, I guarantee you, our legend is probably going to white left-leaning liberals like Joe Biden.
And so Black Lives Matter is not about Black lives. It's about using Black lives as a pawn to push a white liberal agenda.
That's right.
That is exactly right. I'm glad to hear you say it. We had Brandon Tatum on this program the other day, and he was just absolutely saying what you're saying. Do you have time for one more segment?
Come on, let's do it.
Definitely.
All right. So, folks, you already know I'm talking to Diamond and Silk. The great news is they have a new book out. this, if you want their story, you got to get this book. It is called Uprising. Uprising by Diamond and Silk. We'll be right back. It's the Eric Metaxas Show. So you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Diamond and Silk. Now, we have met Diamond and Silk in person, and I've had you on this program before. I know you were raised in the church, and that your values are Christian values. And I've known for most of my adult life that the Black community in America has strong Christian values, but somehow the Democratic Party was able to influence them and to say that we represent you. But as the Democratic Party has gone farther and farther left with regard to a biblical view of sexuality, with regard to many, many issues, Black people in America have been waking up and saying, this is not representing us.
Right.
It seems to me finally that the church in America, those Black Americans who are part of the church and love Jesus, they say we cannot go along with this anymore. Is that part of your story as well?
Absolutely. Listen, we saw where it was a Black president for 8 years that didn't do anything. And then just looking into the Democrat Party and what they represent. And look at now. They playing the race card. They're trying to divide us. They tell, we're going to give you a handout instead of a hand up. I don't need you feeding me crumbs.
That's right.
Give me the ingredients and let me make my own cake, even if I have to call it a crumb cake.
That's right.
I don't need you handing me anything. And right now, those are the tactics. They know this here game. They play this every 4 years.
That's right.
They play this game.
And speaking of the church, it's been taught Sunday after Sunday, thou shalt not kill. But one thing that we found out about the Democrats, they are for abortion.
That's right.
They are for killing babies in the wombs and outside of the wombs, especially Black babies. Let's not forget Margaret Sanger, who actually was over Planned Parenthood. You know, she had what's called the Negro Project. It's what she did to exterminate the lives of Black babies. Okay, so you know, a lot of Black people walk around and they always talk about we're part of the minority, we're minority, we're less than. But if you keep killing your offsprings, what is that going to make you? You don't have any other offsprings there to reproduce. So any Christian, anybody that's of Christ that have taught every Sunday or Sunday in Sunday school, thou shalt not kill, should not be voting for the party that is for killing babies.
Not only that, when you talk about the churches, it is being alleged that some of these churches are being paid to be silent. And I'm saying to myself, why isn't these pastors rising up?
Yes.
You can protest in the streets, chant whatever you want to, but you can't go to church. They have a problem. They want you to stay 6 feet apart. You know, John Lewis just had a funeral, bless his soul, he's gone on. But I noticed I didn't see any social distancing there. I didn't see any social distancing. So they let whoever do whatever they want to do. But when we look at the Democrat Party, listen, they are the party that wanted to keep slavery going. They are the party that continue to play the race card, put us against each other. They could care less about our livelihood.
Talk about the history when you say, because so many Americans don't know this, and I didn't know this until recently, and you just feel so stupid when you realize it, that the Democratic Party was the party of slavery. The Republican Party was founded because they wanted to end slavery, and the history of the Democratic Party for decades after the Civil War continued to be against the Black community. Most people have no idea about this. Tell us a little bit about that.
And one more thing, the Republican Party was also founded by Black people.
Black men.
By Black men.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that.
Don't even know that. When we look at the history of the Democrat Party, the Democrats did not want slavery to end. They wanted to keep it going. They wanted to keep it going. That's how we ended up at war. They did not want it to end. So when slavery ended, thank you, Abraham Lincoln, the Republican Party, when that ended, the Democrats didn't like that. So what did they do? They brought in the KKK to intimidate, manipulate in order to dominate. They didn't like the fact that these black men were Republicans.
Right.
So what they would do is to try to intimidate and manipulate them so that they wouldn't be Republicans.
That's right.
Okay. Then when that didn't work, they brought in the Jim Crow era. Okay. All right. That again, to intimidate and manipulate, to scare people out.
That's
and
right.
so I'll give you this. We used to hear people say, I'll eat under a Democrat, but they only gonna give you crumbs.
That's right.
If you notice, if you look back up under Obama, everybody was on food stamps.
Just about.
Even if you was making money, they put you on food stamps. Why? Why would you take and use up federal tax dollars to put everybody on food stamps? That is a poverty mindset.
Right. And let's not forget about Lyndon B. Johnson.
That's right.
Where he said we'll give them enough to keep them quiet, but not enough to make a difference.
That's right.
Okay.
Think about that for a moment. And he said he will have those so-and-so's voting the same way for the next 300 years.
Yep.
Now, Lyndon B. Johnson called them the N-word, but gave them the crumbs of civil rights.
That's right.
Why wasn't the civil rights leaders asking for equal rights? See, why is it that you always want the crumbs? So when I look at what just happened in our country, the organized chaos, the planned chaos, people out there in the streets marching, Al Sharpton, Obama, and the rest of them set this country back to the 50s and the 60s. That's what they did. We done already overcame. We can all sit at the same lunch counter.
That's right.
We can all go to the same bathroom and drink out of the same water fountain. The question we need to ask, why do they keep taking our country back to those days?
That's right.
And you know what? It's time for us to scrap civil rights. How about we get to equal rights?
I love it. Hold on a second. We're going to keep you on for the final segment. I just love talking to Diamond and Silk. Folks, you're not going anyplace. Folks, I'm talking to Diamond and Silk, and it's just such a joy to listen to you talk because you're speaking for so many people. I know I'm thrilled you have a book out, Uprising, easy to remember. But I want to ask you, if people want to see you in person, are you doing public events? How can people find you if they want to see you in person?
Oh, go to diamondandsilk.com and you'll see the schedule of what we have coming up.
That's right.
We do want to do a national book tour with the book because it's not just a book that you put on the shelf because it has a beautiful cover.
That's right.
It's a book that we want you to read.
Yes.
We really want you to read this book because it's a lot of juicy details within the book.
Yeah.
And it's going to help your mindset, especially to my Black brothers and sisters, when they understand how the liberal ideology is what got you trained the way you do things. You know, when they put the liquor stores on every corner, the abortion clinics on every other corner, everything is almost designed for the Black man to destroy himself, put in by the liberal ideology. They talk about systemic racism. Well, who put those systems in place?
That's right.
White, left-leaning liberals. So we talk a lot in this book. It's not to open up a can of worms, but it's to enlighten our brothers and sisters, whether you're white, black, pinstripe, polka dot, or plaid, to enlighten you as to what's going on. And it's time to wake up, stay woke, and stop always believing what the very fake news tell you. Because they've been so used to picking and choosing elections. And look, and if you don't go along with what they want, they ostracize you. They hunt you down with the dogs. They call you out of your name. But you know what? You can call me whatever you want. But what you won't call me is ignorant. But keep voting for the same system that keeps handing us crumbs.
I love the fact that you see this so clearly because there's a lot to this, and there's a reason people get caught up in a certain way of voting. I know there's some people, they think that if I vote for the Democrats, I'm voting for the working man. You know, that might have been true in 1930, but in this day and age, we know the unions have become absolutely radical left. If they really cared about the urban poor in public schools, they would be for school choice. It's unbelievable to me that they do not care about these kids genuinely. They talk about it, but they do not do it. And I would think that if I were living in an urban community and I had to send my kid to one of those schools where I know they're not learning anything, I would be furious. And I think that would help me to see that maybe I need to vote Republican this time.
Absolutely. And when you talk about school choice, why don't the Democrats want school trust? Because they want to radicalize our children, indoctrinate them, and have them to destroy our country and not believe in our great country, the flag, the Constitution, the fact that we are a republic. That's what they're trying to do. And see, because if you can start them off as babes, once they grow up, then you'll see, well, you saw what was happening in the streets with all of the riots and people saying the most derogatory things to our police officers. These are young people. Right. But who radicalized? Who bewitched the minds of our babes? It starts in this. And if we need school choice. Yeah. We need school choice so that our children won't be indoctrinated with only what they want them to believe in.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening, because when that baby come into this earth, that baby is like empty, and then we put the components in as we instill different things into that baby. But now when you got the Democrats instilling what they want that person to learn, do you know you have to take a test to pass that test in order to go to the next grade? But you got to learn what the liberal ideology is implemented into our babies, into our children. So we do need school choices so that we can give our babies other options out there into the world. It takes me back to the days of slavery. It takes me back to where they didn't want you reading no book to be enlightened or enlightening your mind on something else that's different. They don't want you to awakening from the darkness that they've put a lot of these different communities, especially the Black community, in. But then once you have that light bulb moment, and you wake up from the stupor, then that's when they want to take and ostracize, criticize, and darn near traumatize you back into submission and silence. Back in the day, it was the KKK with the white hoods. Now it's Antifa with the black mask. Same script, different cast.
That's right.
This sounds like a revolution is happening, but in your case, I will call it an uprising. Have you ever thought about writing a book with the title Uprising? You should think about it. Let me ask you, because we just got a minute to go here. Part of the narrative on the left has been viciously anti-American, to teach that America is an inherently evil place, and the 1619 Project goes along with that. I've been talking to Bob Woodson about that. It's an unbelievable thing to teach false history. It's like the enemies of America are being paid by American tax dollars to teach our children negative things about our country.
It is so sad. But you know what? The Bible said you raise a child ain't in the way you want them to go. It didn't tell the school to raise them. You know, so when you have to teach your child about patriotism and about our American flag, where else are you going to go? Where it's not great, or where you have the freedoms that you have here. Because I keep hearing people, they don't like it here. You got babies talking about they don't feel free. Well, if you don't feel free, let's find out where you want to go, and maybe we can go ahead on to make sure we can send you there. You tell me how that's working for you. You know what I believe? I believe these young people should be taken. It should be some kind of experiment.
Venezuela.
Places like that. You can't graduate from school until you do 30 days in a war-torn country with no freedoms, a dictator, and then you tell me how that's working. Okay, so when you get back to America, you will appreciate your freedom.
That's right.
You will appreciate your Constitution.
That's right.
You will appreciate your country and the men that fought for it. You wouldn't kneel on the flag, but you will stand strongly proud for that flag, because it's people that died for you to have a right to those freedoms.
That's right. That's right.
I just love the fact that you have a voice. You are speaking for so many people across this country that are cheering when you speak, just as they cheer when the president speaks. Now, we all know we're sinners, but there's a difference between right and wrong. There's a difference between freedom and slavery. We need to continue to articulate that. I'm sorry we're out of time, but I got to tell you, Diamond and Silk, you made my job easy. You guys are not afraid to speak your mind. I'm excited that you have a book out. The book is Uprising. If anybody wants to know your story, Diamond and Silk have a book out. It's called Uprising. I want to say to you, it's a joy to know that you are speaking loudly and proudly across this country. God bless you both, and thanks for being on this program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having it. And don't forget to go to diamondandsilkbook.com. Get the book Uprising. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Quick question. Do you share the values of the people who sell you things?
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell.
I can tell you that I do. I love Mike Lindell, not just Mike Lindell, but what he stands for.
And I encourage you to use this time at home to get back in the Word, read our Bibles, and spend time with our families.
The dude said that at the White House. How can you not love him?
What difference at this point does it make?
No, actually, it does make a difference. How you spend your money is as important as how you vote. And you don't want to, help elect some crazy guy, do you?
You may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head.
Did he just say that?
If you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement.
So, if you want your money to support good things, visit mypillow.com.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
And please use the discount code Eric or Metaxas.
If you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap.
A bathing cap? Anyway, please go to mypillow.com and use the code Eric or Metaxas.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.